Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Lazouzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today we will do the September update. Okay, first, this podcast is provided to you by MedBoard, so let's hear more about MedBoard.
MedBoard, the regulatory research and intelligence platform, is focused on solving the problem with increasing news and data and new requirements, as regulatory intelligence, post-market surveillance, clinical literature review, and many more. We are making trusted medtech information and data more accessible, creating the largest information portal search and the best tools for review, intelligence, and portfolio management. We are already changing people's lives like you by reducing tedious manual and repetitive work or saving much time. Contact us at medboard.com to learn more about us and do a free trial.
To start with this podcast, we'll talk about the EU Commission that is asking you your opinion or mainly to answer a survey. So this survey is mainly about mainly how the EU is communicating with you. Are you satisfied? Do you want to be more often to receive more often emails, or what is the medium that you are using to get information from the EU Commission? And they are also asking you questions about the extension of the EU MDR and IVDR. So, are you happy of it? What can they improve, etc., etc. So, this survey is available. I really advise you to go and read it and answer it. It will take 5, maybe even 2 minutes to answer to it. So, but this will provide a great insight and great input to the EU Commission about if you are happy or not about their communication, and also about the EU MDR extension and their consequences. So don't hesitate to go to the show notes and check the link. And 2 minutes, it's done. Okay, now let's talk about the EU MDR transition. So this was voted in March this year, but there are still a lot of questions, a lot of documents, a lot of clarification, because apparently everything is not clear. So the EU Commission has issued a question and answer document. We already talked about that, I think, before. So there is this document that will be answering your questions. Are you eligible or not for the extension to the EU MDR? I mean, anything related to the fact that you are a legacy device and now your certificate is maybe expired. So what should you do? Are you subject to that? What can you prove? How can you prove that you are fine for it, etc., etc. So apparently this question and answer was maybe not sufficient, because they have now issued a flowchart with a decision tree, which helps you again to go through this and to again identify if you are eligible or not to that. The flowchart is well done, all the decisions is well done. It's divided in two. There is the part which is about specifically legacy devices, and there is the part that is about custom-made devices. So because the extension is also for custom-made. Prior to the extension or prior to the decision of the vote, custom-made devices, class 3 implantable custom-made devices were not subject to any extension. By the 26th of May 2021, you had to have a certificate from a notified body about it. But they maybe identified that this is a big issue, so now they included that in the extension to say any companies that are having a custom-made device class 3 implantable can benefit from a transition period until 2026. So you have still some time for it. But this decision tree can help you to decide if yes or no you are eligible to the extension of the EU MDR and of all the decisions that was made in March. The other thing is that we have Team NB that also issued a report about this transition timeline, about the notified body capacity. So it's also an important report to read just to understand more about the consequences for this timeline and the capacity and everything. So don't hesitate also to go to the show notes and check the Team NB report on that. And you have Eric Rodbrecht that also issued a blog post about mainly what is happening actually with the EU MDR and IVDR. And the title is mainly, can we fix, improve the EU MDR and IVDR? So it's mainly a questions about all the mistakes that were happening, all the things that were done, the consequences of those mistakes, and yeah, mainly how it is ongoing, the situation about notified bodies, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things that were done with the eMDR. We had 3 times more pages than the combination of MDD and IVDD and AIMDD, sorry. But at the end we have again more MDCG guidances, more documentation, more implementing acts, more. So apparently the eMDR is not sufficient to understand how to implement it. So they are putting in place a lot of guidances to help you to understand what they wanted to say on the eMDR. And maybe it creates a bit of some confusion here. So yeah, I really advise you to go and read also this article from Eric Volbrecht, just to understand a bit the situation of the eMDR and IVDR also. Okay, Team NB issued now agreements template. So you have the situation actually where your previous notified body, you are changing your notified body from one previously that was maybe under MDD to another one that is maybe under MDR. So now there is this surveillance of your MDD certificate that is that can be in place, and there is this agreement that the Team NB has issued, a template or white paper, where they are advising on how to agree for the transition between the previous notified body to the new notified body, the outgoing notified body to the incoming notified body. So it can be a great document to read and to understand. Because yeah, if you are moving to another notified body, the new notified body has also some obligations, and it has also to understand all those. I suppose there will be also some communication between the previous notified body to the new one. So this is something that you should, as a manufacturer, understand and find an agreement on how to make this transition that can be smoothly. So Team NB issued this template. Just check. I think it's interesting to read and to understand, and then maybe you will need to use that for your transition from one notified body to another. Okay, what is the notified body situation now? So we are at 39 notified bodies under MDR and 10 notified bodies under IVDR. Okay, but what is on the pipeline? And the EU Commission is now issuing their chart that is showing all the graph. And in this chart, we can see that normally there are 62 notified bodies that have sent an application for MDR and 22 for IVDR. So there are still a lot that are on the pipeline and waiting to go. So this, as I said, can create a situation where your notified body is on the pipeline to be an MDR certified notified body, but it is still not. So you, as a manufacturer, what should you do? Should you stay with this one expecting that the transition or the certification will be quick? Or should you just say, okay guys, I cannot stay with you anymore because I have really to move to another notified body as quick as possible. If you have the chance to have another notified body that you can go, maybe it's the right choice. It's your risk assessment that has to be done, and your risk management or the risk of for your company, and define if this is risky to stay with the previous one or to move to the new one. But mainly a lot of manufacturers don't have any other notified body, or they will struggle to find one and to transition to one, as we showed before, so with an agreement to transition. So mainly you have also to really somehow take the risk and say, maybe I will stay with my previous notified body, and I will hope that by 2027 or 2028 now, because we have this extension, maybe they will be already MDR certified, and then you can move forward with them. So this is the situation. I know that it's not the best for some of you, but you have really to evaluate that. Should you stay with your notified body, current notified body, if they are on this pipeline that I told before? If they are not, maybe you have already to find your new notified body and then move to them also. So this is really a difficult situation for you, but also for the notified body that is now in transition, because they want to keep you as a customer. They want to have you for when they will be MDR certified, but as the process is long for them, so mainly it can be a bit difficult also. So yeah. Just be patient sometime and have a good understanding of your situation, of their situation, and what is the best for your company. Okay, we had the situation under EUMDR where we had this amendment to the medicinal product directive, so the Article 117. Now, let's review that in the other way. So, first, under the Article 117, we are talking about medical devices that are embedded inside or that contain a drug, or that a drug that is embedded inside a medical device, like a prefilled syringe or anything that is a drug but contains a medical device. So this is Article 117. Now, in this case, you have to go through the European Medicine Agency to obtain your approval of your drug device. And at the same time, you have to contact a notified body so that they can review the medical device part of your product. Now, in the other way, imagine now that your product is a medical device, it's regulated by a notified body, but it contains inside as an ancillary part a drug or human blood derivative, for example. In that case, for any of those products, you have to get a consultation with the European Medicine Agency. So it's the other way. You are going through a notified body, but you are consulting the EMA. So the EMA, the European Medicine Agency, has issued a question and answer document that is explaining how to do all this consultation, how to contact them, what should be inside your application, etc., etc. So this is an important document in the case, and remember, if your product contains a drug, or a human blood derivative, it will be considered anyway as a class 3 device per rule 14 of the EUMDR. So then you have also to consult with an external agency, which is in this case the EMA. So don't forget this point, because if you arrive at the point where you go to the application to a notified body, if you don't have the result of this consultation, maybe the notified body will just stop and wait and say, okay, can you make this, because without that we cannot really move forward. So don't forget to do that and don't miss this opportunity. Otherwise you will lose some time and then you will have to wait before your products can be on the market. Okay, training now. So this month, in August, we have issued 2 mini training or trainings for your company. So the first training is about vigilance reporting. So the idea is mainly to explain to you what is the vigilance reporting, how to fill this form that is existing. So you have 3 different forms. You have the MIR form, you have the FSCA form, and you have the FSN form. So how to fill all those documents, what are the codes that you have to use for filling them, because we have also some codes to use. So I try to explain to you all this within a small training. It's a 1 hour and a half training with a quiz at the end for evaluation of your knowledge, and providing you also an attestation of for your participation to the training. So don't hesitate to go and to check also the content of the training. You have all the agenda. You have the first video that is free, and you can just check what is the content of the training. Then the second training is about audit readiness. So I'm helping a lot of companies, and one point that I have identified is that they are not really ready for making an audit. Mainly the companies that were not having any audit before, never had any audit before with a notified body, so they are a bit lost. What should I do? How can I prepare, etc. So we have made also a small training to explain first what are the different types of audits, and second, how to behave in front of an auditor. What to say, what not to say, the fact also that a notified body are looking for evidences, not just you saying something, but prove that to me. So there are a lot of things that we are trying to explain to you within this training. So don't hesitate also to go and to check the first video where there is all the agenda of what I will be talking about. So go on the show notes. And we have the famous Green Belt certification training that I will be issuing this month in September, starting from September 18th until September 22nd. So don't hesitate also to go to the show notes and enroll to the training. So it's a live training, this one. The others were e-training, so already recorded, so you can just go and purchase them and go. It's self-paced training, so you can go through the different videos at your pace. This one, the Green Belt certification program, is a 1-week training where we go every day to a different topic, and I'm with you every day. So every day we have a session together where I will be explaining to you the topic. I can answer all your questions, and at the end you will be passing an exam, and I hope you'll get it and then get your certificate, your Green Belt certificate. So don't hesitate to go on the show notes and just enroll to the new session. UK now. So UK has made an announcement and everybody was contacting me and saying, oh, now CE marking is approved indefinitely for the UK. So I said, oh, really? I mean, I just came back from holiday, so I found that. So I said, okay, let's look at that. And no, so just to be clear, no. So the UK has informed that for any type of products that are going to the UK that are CE marked, they can indefinitely be sold in the UK without UKCA, so with CE marking. Means that you don't need any more to do UKCA for those products and then go on the UK market. But it says also that it's not, the exception is medical devices and in vitro diagnostic, because mainly there was already a previous communication about in vitro diagnostic and medical devices where it says mainly that there is an extension of the timeline for UKCA, but it's not indefinite like for the other products like toys or pyrotechnic products, etc. So it means that your medical device should still comply to the UKCA by a certain date. So for general medical devices that are under MDD and AIMDD, they can continue to comply to the MDD and AIMDD until the 30th of June 2028. For in vitro diagnostic until under IVDD until the 13th of June 2030. And for MDR and IVDR products until the 30th of June 2030. So they extended those dates due to the extension of the EU MDR. But surprisingly, the announcement that they have made the 1st of August has nothing, is not applicable to medical devices, but is applicable to any other product. So any other products can continue to be sold in the UK market under CE marking, but not medical devices and in vitro diagnostic. So it's really interesting because why first? Why not medical devices? And mainly it means that UKCA will be really applicable at, only for medical devices and in vitro diagnostic. For other products, they maybe don't need UKCA, so this is not applicable. So it makes a bit, I think, a bit strange. So Ronald Boumans, for example, issued also a communication about that. So we explained exactly that point. So I really encourage you to go and check that on the show notes, what it is and how it is working. And I also placed on the show notes 2 articles from The Guardian, where it's not specific for medical devices, but for anything else, where it's mainly also is saying that, yeah, the Brexit was not really working well, apparently, because the objective was to be separate from EU and everything. Now they continue to be under CE marking for their products, so which is strange. So we don't know really what's happening there. We'll maybe know later. But for the moment, guys, EU MDR, IVDR is applicable until 2030 in the UK. After that, you have to have a UKCA mark under approved bodies for the UK. So don't miss this opportunity also and think that no, it's not applicable to medical devices. It is applicable to medical devices. And to continue with the UK, we have the announcement also in August that 3 additional UK approved bodies were announced, which are TÜV Süd, Intertek, and TÜV Rheinland. So these are the 3 approved bodies that will be then helping you to transition to the UKCA for medical devices and in vitro diagnostic. Before we had BSI, DEKRA, SGS, and UL. So we have now like 7, but each of them is for different things. There are some specific for in vitro diagnostics, some specific for general medical devices, and some specific for active devices. So you have to check for what it is. So I have placed the link on the show notes, so you can go there and just check which one will be specific for your type of products. Okay, Australia is now issuing some webinars. So the Australian webinar, there are 2 webinars issued by the Australian Authority for this month of September. First, in September 14th, we have the webinar on vigilance program, the new vigilance program within TGA, within the Australian government, specifically for the sponsor. So if you are located outside of the Australian market and you need then somebody in the Australian market to execute, to register your product, an authorized representative, maybe this person has also to execute your vigilance. So any vigilance activities should be done also by this person. So then you have to understand how vigilance is done between the manufacturer located outside of Australia and then the authorized representative in Australia. So there are also some role and responsibility to define within the agreement of them. But this webinar will explain to you what are the rules. As Australia is following a lot what Europe is doing, I suppose that the rules will be the same as Europe. But yeah, better to look at it if you are selling your products in Australia. And the second webinar is UDI. So after US, after Europe, after a lot of other countries, now Australia is also following the UDI requirements. So they will be also issuing a webinar explaining the UDI for the Australian market. This one will be in September 19th. So don't hesitate to go to the show notes and to just find out the links, and then you'll understand more about the timing also, because it's Australian time. So it's not like European time. So it's 11 a.m. Australian time, which is really late, I think. Late for us that are in Europe, but maybe not too late for the ones that are in Asia or in the other regions. So don't hesitate to go and to check if this is something that can be helpful for you. Okay, Canada is issuing a pre-market guidance for machine learning enabled medical devices. So mainly, if your software is using some artificial intelligence method like machine learning, then here you have a pre-market guidance on how to build your dossier to then register your medical device, your software, your machine learning enabled medical device in the Canadian market. So it's a document that is really explaining a lot on how it is working and how you should do that. So don't follow the normal route, just really check those kind of guidances, because they will tell you exactly what they are expecting to see for each of the chapters of the dossier or whatever. Remember also that Canada is only accepting your application if you are MDSAP certified, because mainly it's mandatory in Canada. So don't just try to go to Canada to register and to do that without MDSAP. So try to get MDSAP first, and then you can apply for to the Canadian. I mean, you can do that in parallel, but mainly MDSAP is an important information for that. So if you are a software company that has a machine learning software as a medical device and you want to register in Canada, this is the guidance that you have to read. USA, they are issuing a guidance on off-the-shelf software. So what is that? So off-the-shelf software is mainly that you have your software that you are selling, and you need for using this software, you need an off-the-shelf software. So mainly something that you are not controlling, that you are just taking out of the shelf. So mainly here the US is providing a guidance to ask you to also provide a justification for why this software is good, how it is working, for maybe some specification about how to use software. Because when you will apply, make an application of your software like a 510K to the FDA market, to the FDA, then they will see that you are using an off-the-shelf software. Then they will ask you a lot of questions. So this guidance will help you to answer those questions and provide the right documentation. What are the documents that are expected at which stage? What are the information that they want to see, etc., etc. So this is really important. I'm not really sure exactly at which level we are talking about off the shelf. Like, is Windows for Microsoft Windows like off the shelf, and is it part of it? There are a lot of elements that are mentioned directly on this guidance, so I really advise you to go to look at it. If you are again a software company that is trying to sell your products in the US market and that your product needs another software to be working also. So this is mainly something that can really help you. Okay, now let's go to Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is asking all the manufacturers and all the supplies companies like importer, distributor in Saudi Arabia to be ISO 13485 certified. So they are really pushing that a lot. So it means that if you are selling your products in Saudi Arabia, be careful to verify that your economic operators, distributors, authorized representative and everything, I mean, the people that are really supplying the equipments, not the authorized representative, they are ISO 13485 certified, because the authorities will check that, will verify if they are ISO 13485 certified. So don't hesitate, don't first understand that, and then ask them, don't hesitate to ask them, can you show me your ISO 13485 certificate before you can really sign an agreement with them, because it will be mandatory, it is mandatory in Saudi Arabia. If they are not, they will be not granted any license to then sell your product. So it's really something important. So there is this communication made. There is no timeline. They say at the date of application of the circular, but I didn't find exactly which date it is. So I'm not sure if it is already in place now or if there is a future date. So it was in Arabic. I was not able to read everything. So if somebody knows, so don't hesitate also to place a comment on the video and just tell us, yeah, here is maybe the date of application for these requirements with Saudi Arabia. Okay, so we have now an announcement. I mean, I have an announcement myself. So we have we are working with an India, so from SQ Technologies related to the electronic quality management system software. So we have now our own software, which is called Smart Eye. So Smart Eye is an electronic quality management system that is really specific for medical device companies. So it's providing modules like project modules where you can do the design and development, create your DHF, your DMR for your products, do all your design input, design output, verification, validation, traceability metrics, etc. We have modules like change control, modules like quality management system where we can place all your procedures, your documents, your records, etc., your templates. You have modules like CAPA, corrective action, preventive action, with all the flow that is already set up. Modules like non-conformity also with all the flow that is set up. Complaint management with recording of complaint, recording also of feedback, even positive feedback. And also vigilance reporting. If there is any vigilance, you have also the communication to the authorities that is prepared for you. You have then also the module about training. So anything that is on Smart Eye can then be sent for training to the people. Training is not just click and read and it's fine. So there is also a possibility to put some quiz and some tests for your people to confirm that they really read it and understood it. There is also a module of supplier management. I mean, everything that is needed for a medical device company is available within Smart Eye. So don't hesitate also to contact us for making a demo of Smart Eye because mainly you have to know more about it and see how it is used. Anybody that looked at it or worked with it now says, oh, it's great because it's really easy. You don't have to be an expert on medical devices to be navigating inside it and finding all the information needed. And this is the objective. It was to make it easy for everybody with no code, so no need of coding. You can also customize a bit the fields there. It's with no code, so it's really important for you to then have something that is working smoothly for you for your certification. So don't hesitate to ask for a demo, and we'll try to provide that to you with an India also. Okay, so thank you very much. Okay, now conferences. So we have 4 conferences for until the end of the year. So the first conference is in September. We have the Medix Day conference in Berlin for medical devices in September 26 and 27. So I will be there. We'll be also doing a live podcast, if I can say there, recording live with the people that are there. So I think it will be an interesting day. So don't hesitate if you are there to communicate with me, and then maybe we can meet together for the Medix Day in Berlin. Next one is the AFRI Summit in Cairo in Egypt. So it's also something that I will be part of. I will be also a speaker at this session. So if you are going also to the AFRI Summit, don't hesitate to contact me. Next one is Medica in Düsseldorf, Germany in November. So I will be also there one day, but I will be there just to visit a bit of what is going, and I will also try to meet some of the people because I know that a lot of people are going there. So don't hesitate also to make a planning with me if you are really interested to meet me at Medica. And the last one, which is not so far from where I'm living, so Team PRRC, which will be in Strasbourg in France. It's also an important meeting because if you are a PRRC or you want to become a PRRC, coming to this kind of meeting will help you to understand what is the role and also meet the Team PRRC association and then also get a membership with them. So don't hesitate to go to the show notes to find out all the links for these events. And if you are going to one of them, don't hesitate to let me know so that we can maybe meet. Okay, podcast to listen. So usually I'm showing to you the podcast that we are doing, so we'll do that just after. But first, I have a lot of podcasts that I'm also listening or I'm looking at. So I think it can be great also a good list for you to register. So the first podcast is Medical Misfit episode, which, for example, the first episode is how to join a tech startup as a medical student, which is a great subject just to explain how to enter this kind of startup company. And you can have then the link directly where there are a lot of other episodes where they are interviewing a lot of other people. But this episode was a great one. The next one is the MedTech podcast with Karen Deep Badwal. So Karen Deep is also interviewing a lot of people. The last one was Ivan Perez-Chamorro from MedBoard. So a great episode also. So don't hesitate to check the episodes of the MedTech podcast. The next one is the MedTech Talent Lab with Mitch Robbins. So Mitch Robbins was on my podcast also, but he is really providing a lot of advices to employers and also candidates on how to apply for a job, how to get a raise also. I saw the last episode about how to get a raise. So it gives you a lot of advices, and specifically in the area of quality and regulatory affairs. So don't hesitate also to listen to this podcast if you are like a candidate searching for a job or something like that. It will provide you a lot of advices on it. And the next one is the Life Science 360 with Arsh Thakar. So this is a great podcast with Arsh is interviewing a lot of people on the medtech industry. I got interviewed also, so a great episode where I explain also my role as a consultant, how I'm working and how we are doing the networking with all the people that I'm working with. So I think it's important to listen also to the experience that others did have, so that you can also learn what to do for your future and which route you can also take, what are maybe some inspiration for you and how you can succeed, if I can say, within your projects. And the last one is the State of MedTech with Omar Khatib. So I also had Omar on my podcast. So he's more on the marketing side, sales, marketing, etc. for medical devices. But it's also a great podcast to listen and to hear about, because you have also to see not only in the medical device quality and regulatory affairs field, but see also beyond and just check what is happening also in the other departments. And having this view can help you also within your actual job. Okay, so now let's talk about the podcast of the last month. So the first episode that we had last month was who should be on your risk management dream team with Navin Agarwal. So Navin is really a great expert in risk management. He has also a podcast on that. He's also doing a lot of talks. He's recently also launching some LinkedIn audio about that. So I really encourage you to discuss with Navin and to connect maybe with him if you are really looking for information on risk management. So this episode is really great, episode 243. Next one is hire your quality and regulatory affairs employee with no budget, and we had that with Mitch Robbins, episode 244, where we discussed more about how you can also communicate within your social media to try to hire a candidate, a quality and regulatory affairs, and it gives you a lot of methods that you may use. Next one is why you should automate your software validation with Christophe Girardet and Virginie Rocha. So mainly those two persons from Vega Informatique are providing some advice on how to validate your software, not to do it manually each time, but if you know that this is something that you will have to do maybe 10, 20, 30 times, so maybe make it automatic is a good way for you. And yeah, this episode will help you to maybe save you some time and save you some human errors that you may do if you do a validation by hand. Then what are the acceptance criteria for your clinical evaluation with Cesare Magri? This is a great episode which is really explaining to you how to set up the bar, how to set up this acceptance criteria for your clinical evaluation yourself, and to show to the notified body that this bar or this criteria are the right ones. And if you are passing this bar, means that your clinical evaluation is good also. So this helps you and helps also the notified body to understand more about your products. Remember, you are the expert of your products, so you should know even more than the notified body. But notified bodies are also experts of those types of products, so they can ask you some questions that maybe can be challenging. So don't hesitate to try to set up the right acceptance criteria, justify why those acceptance criteria are the right ones, and how then to reach the bar. So listen to this with Cesare Magri. And the last one is how to perform your clinical validation in practice. So Enrico Allegra from Test Labs in the UK has provided us some advices on how to do clean validation. Also for example, active devices that are using electricity, for microbiological, also the material that you are using, that maybe the cleaning agent with the material is creating some kind of damage. So you have to review all that and to check all that. So if your device needs to be cleaned before to be used, then don't hesitate to look at this episode, because it will provide you all the information that is needed and will be asked also by your notified body. Okay, so it's the end, and Easy Medical Device is here to help you. So we are providing this podcast to you, but we are also a consulting firm. So we are also providing some consulting activities. So if you need anything about quality and regulatory affairs for medical devices, don't hesitate to contact us. We have a lot of people that can help you. If you need a training also, if you need an authorized representative, an importer, so don't hesitate to contact us. We are offering those services. And if you need an electronic quality management system, as I've told you, so we have now the new software Smart Eye, which we can provide to you, and we have already a lot of customers that are using it. So don't hesitate to contact us to have a demo, and I'm sure you'll like it. So don't hesitate also. Okay, it was really a pleasure to provide you this regulatory update, and I wish you a nice day.